Hey, folks, back in the game here. I want to talk today about something that's been on my mind a while. And I just want to sort of make everybody who isn't aware and, just provide a little bit of education. That's the original purpose of this channel. And I'm trying to get back to my roots a little bit. So, as you saw from the thumbnail, don't get caught holding the bag. That's what the premise here is. And what that means is don't be the guy or gal who pays a lot for a rookie card and it ends up being worth very little. It happens literally every day in this industry, in this hobby, uh, and and I kind of want to just give a little bit of advice on how to not do this. So the first thing I want to state is that this is dealing directly with modern cards. This very rarely applies to vintage, unless something like maybe a guy who's a popular vintage player ends up being a really terrible person or something, and a whole bunch of stuff comes out. The prices may drop. Other than that, this is talking strictly about modern cards. Uh, One thing I didn't know when I got back into the hobby is that modern cards for the most hyped players have have prices built in that are ridiculously that are unrealistic in most cases. You could state that when Victor Wembanyama's first cards came out, that it was built in that he's a Hall of Famer, right? The prices were astronomical. I just wanted to say, thanks for watching this video. If you're new here, I would appreciate if you click subscribe, and I always appreciate a like as well. If you've got anything to say about anything I say in this video, leave a comment. Let me know. I love interacting with people. So that's it for the most hyped rookies. That is what happens. If you decide to buy in early, and buy in, I mean buy a card for quote unquote investment early on in somebody's career, it is going to be, the odds say that guy's not going to hold that value or exceed that value. There's going to be exceptions. I'm not talking about the exceptions here. I'm talking about in general what happens. I've got some examples here, some easy ones off the top of your head, right? Uh, if somebody invested heavily in Zion Williamson, when he first came out. I wasn't collecting cards then, but I know people who are sitting on cards that they paid thousands and thousands of dollars for, and are not worth that now, right? So here's sort of my thoughts on it. The hype for when cards first come out, when rookie cards first come out, can be caused by a lot of things, right? It can be caused by previews. It can be caused by hype from the checklist. It can be caused by just the hype of the name. Like if you're collecting basketball cards, you know who Cooper Flag is. You know that right now, you know that Cooper Flag cards are going to be ridiculously priced when they come out. That's just the way the market works. Whether he turns out to be a Hall of Famer or a guy that washes out of the league fairly young, those cards are going to be super expensive to start out. So there's also like the release day surge. The first to market buyer, the first to market people, the flippers, those guys are going to get their cards up fast. And in general, the first raw sale, at least the first raw sale that you see, online, eBay, whatever, is going to be the highest sale. It's very likely going to go only down from there. And then another thing that can spike that, cause the inflation of it, is rookie debuts on an incredible hot streak. Like think Jacob Mizorowski this year, or even Nick Kurtz this year for baseball. Sort of the moral of the story for that beginning part there is that prices are often based on what people hope will happen, not what happened. That's not really the case for vintage cards, right? They're certainly in the junk wax era when I was collecting stuff. It was, there were hyped rookies for sure. But it wasn't thousands of dollars hyped rookies. It was, $10 hyped rookie, right? So we're dealing on um, dealing with a much larger scale of money. So here's my advice: you need to separate in your mind, maybe even physically, your PC, your personal collection, your guys who you want to keep, and hold forever, and guys that someone else may want to buy, keep, and hold forever. Okay. And really, what I mean there is, let's use Bo Nix as an example. I'm a Broncos fan, right? All of my Bo Nix cards that I pulled myself last year, I'm keeping, and I have paid for some cards that I am grading, that I'm keeping, that I'm grading and keeping. Uh, and in that, I don't really honestly care what the prices of those cards are now or what they are in the future for the most part. Obviously, I would like, if I pass these down to my children and their children, that these are very uh, worthy, expensive cards someday, right? But that's not my primary goal here. My primary goal is to have cool Bo Nix cards. Okay. So I'm the end user in that situation. What you don't want to be is not the end user and still holding a card. Okay. Um, and really, what I mean by that is, if you pull a card of somebody that's super hyped, that's a modern player, that's a modern card, sell it immediately. Sell it as soon as you can. Yes, there's a chance, that guy becomes Tom Brady. He becomes Mike Trout. He becomes whoever. There's a much, much, much greater chance that he becomes Mac Jones or Kenny Pickett. The people that bought those hyped up rookie cards for thousands and thousands of dollars in the expectation that they were going to flip them for more thousands and thousands of dollars down the road, are sitting there holding the bag, right? Now, if you were a Patriots fan and you were a big Mac Jones guy and you bought some of those for your collection, great. If you are a guy who pulled a big Mac Jones card and expected it to be worth the thousands of dollars it was worth then, now you are you're holding the bag, right? There is uh that's the reality. That's the reality of the card market right now. And it may be the reality of the card market for the foreseeable future, to be honest. Another thing is that collectors have a short attention span, right? So the focus right now is rookie quarterbacks from last year going into the NFL season. In a couple weeks, those cards are going to go down again. For the most part, those cards are going to go down again. The most those cards are going to be worth is now for this year. The market, the hobby, moves on to the next big thing, moves on to the next guy who is hyped coming up, probably Cooper Flag, to be honest. Then maybe the hockey guys move into, whoever the hockey hyped player is. So that's just kind of the way the market works. So I'm going to give you a few examples here of things that I've done on my own. So I want to give you an example of a card that I pulled from a pack, I graded, and I sold, and now it's worth much less than I sold it for. Okay. So if you look at this sale right here, this is Card Ladder. In a recent video, I said that I hadn't ever used Card Ladder, and that's true. That was true then. I ended up renewing my PSA membership, uh, mostly because of the cards you get in the PSA magazine. If you go for uh, the TCG side of it and get that magazine, often you're getting free cards, and often those cards are worth a lot of money, well more than the $200 subscription per year. Uh, so that's just a little piece of advice there. But with the PSA subscription, a subscription for a year to Card Ladder comes with it. Okay. So this is Card Ladder. This sale right here, I sold on March 7th, 2024 for $450. A few months before that, I pulled it out of a pack myself and I sent it to PSA myself. Okay. So total cost for me is whatever the pack box costs. I don't count that because I can't remember what each individual thing costs. The only time I think about the cost of a card is if I buy it myself and then grade it. I don't worry about pack pulled. Uh, so I pulled it out of a pack. I thought it looked fantastic. I sent it off for grading. This was early in my grading journey, and there was some massive sales going on. So this was probably $17 to $19 for the grade. So I'm into this for a total of $19. Okay, it came back a PSA 10. Fantastic. I thought it would. I immediately, and I'm telling you immediately, like the day that I got it, or maybe the day after, listed it on eBay. Why? A few reasons. One, I honestly didn't believe in Anthony Richardson at all. I saw him play at Florida, and I thought people were absolutely insane thinking he was going to be some sort of massive, amazing quarterback. Number two, just what I was talking about earlier, rookie hype. Other people, Colts fans, are going to jump on this guy, and investors are going to jump on this guy. That is not the fact is it's likely going down. Get out while I can get out. Right. So I did. Uh, I sold it for $450. It looks like I thought it was 500, but I guess I'm incorrect in my memory. And obviously Anthony Richard isn't even starting for the Colts this year. Let's look at recent sales. So yesterday, a PSA 10 with an auto sold for less than half of, not yesterday, a few days ago, a PSA 10 with the auto sold for less than half of what my non-auto sold for. Let's see, few days or the same day, down here, my exact same card, right? A PSA 10 sold for $129. The day before that, one sold for $83. Before that, $80. So as you can see, so not only did the price go down because Anthony Richardson didn't pan out, but the price would have naturally gone down if Anthony Richard turned out to be a serviceable NFL quarterback or even a pretty decent NFL quarterback. You can look at CJ Stroud's numbers. His stuff started out really high and went down. He didn't have a fantastic sophomore season, but he's certainly a good NFL quarterback. And I suspect he'll bounce back a little bit, this year with a better offensive line. Uh, but but this illustrates my point completely. I did not collect Anthony Richardson. So my reasoning, obviously, behind that is that he's not my PC. He's not a guy that I particularly believed in. But even if he was, this is the absolute key to this video, folks. Even if he was a guy that I believed in, sell it now. You can buy it back later at a lesser price in 99% of the cases. They let you buy the cards back. You can buy, you know, I if I were so inclined, if I thought Anthony Richardson, oh man, he got a raw deal. This dude, Daniel Jones, is not going to start for very long. Anthony's going to come in, take over, and he's going to be, the next coming. If I believe that, I still should have sold that card at $450, and then I could have bought it yesterday, a few days ago for $129, right? So therefore, I'm guaranteed that profit. There again, caveat: there's going to be exceptions to this, right? Very few, but there are going to be. I suspect in the very long term, Victor Wembanyama's cards are going to be worth more than they were when he first came out. I suspect. I don't know. He's a guy that I'm personally collecting. He's in my PC. So maybe wishful thinking on my part. Um, but I suspect that. I think he's a generational talent. Um, there are people that don't. There are people that pulled his cards and immediately sold them. And that is perfectly fine because they're playing the odds. 99% of the time, that's going to be the case. They're just going to go down. And they may still go down. I honestly, again, as I would talk about with Bo Nix, is I don't care if they go down. That is not my primary reason for collecting cards. My primary reason for collecting cards is to have cool cards. Whether they're worth a lot of money or not, you know, sure it'd be nice if they were worth a lot of money. Sure it'd be nice they were worth whatever I paid for them for the rest of time or more. That'd be great. Probably not going to happen. So, in the modern industry, your best bet is to sell immediately. Sell on the hype. If you want to buy back in later when it's cheaper. All right, folks. So that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you have good luck in your journey. I hope you don't get caught holding the bag. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.